Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming. Idoy, thank you for coming. Sure this. I actually wasn't expecting anybody to show up. Thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you have, if you're new, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. On back, welcome. Well, thank you for the thumbs up. Um, okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so I have a topic for today, and um, I wanna start by saying that okay, thank you. I wanna start by saying that many of us when we're growing up, we traveled, we took different trips, and I personally can remember my parents when they took us somewhere, which was usually the most we traveled was like church, because we really didn't travel from city to city, except that, except when we traveled from our city to the village to go see my grandmother. And that was exciting. So we were not, we were not tantruming or angry. We were excited to go because we were going to see my grandmother. So recently I started seeing all kinds of videos, online, on YouTube, different recommendations I was getting. And I do want us to watch one of such videos, and so you can see where I'm coming from. I'm gonna show it to you now in a few minutes. And then we can start the conversation from there. It's a little bit loud here. I'm trying to find the video because I saved it. And I do have a couple more videos that I want to play so we can see. Okay. Now, I'm going to share my screen in a few minutes. I wonder if I have. Um, I'm trying to get that video out so we can see it. Okay. Let me start from here. All right. Here it goes. I'm going to share my screen now so we can see it. All right. And this is the video right here. Probably give it a full screen. Okay. And audio.
Boy, it's a short clip, but if
Okay, so they have their own commentary, and you see that child right there bouncing behind somebody's chair, you know, and we know what mom was probably thinking. Mom was probably thinking, I'm just gonna let this child do what they want to do, because if I stop them, they are going to have a tantrum, and I cannot deal with a tantrum at the moment. So the child is busy jumping, there's a passenger in front, and that is that's funny. So that wasn't even a bit. That wasn't like a whole lot going on there. There's more. I have more videos here. I'm gonna show you. So there's more where it really was it was a lot going on. That's just a little bit. Okay. Here's the next one here, and I'm gonna pause this. Oh wait, hold on. I'm just gonna take the audio out because there's a video. Okay, hold on. Going to play the next one so we can see it. Okay, let's see the next video. Hold on, let me share screen. And I'm gonna go to this one and full screen it so we can all see it, and then play.
That ear-piercing scream is an unruly child on a transatlantic flight to New York. The passengers describe an 8-hour flight from hell with nonstop and nerve-jangling screaming and fussing. They even covered their ears to drown out the 3-year-old. His mom was overheard telling flight attendants he has behavioral problems. Passenger Shane Townley shot the video.
She kind of looked like she was used to it. He was climbing all over the chairs. He was just screaming, would not let up. He was running up and down the aisles. There was nothing she could do.
Before the plane even took off from Germany, the child's mother could be heard asking a flight attendant to turn on the Wi-Fi so the child could be appeased with an iPad. She was also heard pleading, "Calm down, honey."
Everybody was just kind of looking at each other like, oh, this is going to be a long flight.
The passengers sure were relieved when the flight finally landed at Newark International Airport after 8 hours of screaming. The worst flight ever happened in August, but the video just came to light today. So what should you do to control an unruly child on a plane? We asked parenting expert Liz Stern.
You need to come on this plane prepared because you know that the baby is going to start crying. Passengers are going to get upset, but you need as a parent to actively be prepared for this. Snacks are really important to have snacks prepared for the baby or the child. Also a book, maybe a favorite book or a favorite toy. You can also try an iPad, download ahead of time the songs that a baby might like to soothe the baby.
Tips that could have prevented this nightmare flight.
You know, that was a lot. 8 hours of crying. Oh my goodness. You know, can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Hi, Druzy. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. Thank you, Ombek. So, I do have one more video to show, and then see how it's is graduating from a child just bouncing all over the place to a child screaming for 8 hours non-stop. Mom was frustrated. Passengers, everybody is frustrated. This child is terrorizing. This child is terrorizing. Easy Math with Coach Mike. How are you? Thank you for coming. I appreciate every one of you today. Thank you so much for coming. So that's wild. You know what that child was doing. for 8 complete hours. Okay, so when children are tantrum, and I've done a lot of videos on this channel about tantrums. There is I think I'm gonna leave links when I finish the live stream, and I'm editing and doing stuff to the video. I'll leave links to the tantrum videos that I have done. For toddlers, tantrums are very natural. It's not something to be surprised about. It's not something to be angry about or frustrated about, because it's who they are at the age they are in. That's what happens with toddlers. And I have I think I had the where is it? Okay, I'm gonna get it now. I had some information from the CDC about tantrums, and I'm going to share that in a minute. CDC is Center for Disease Control. So this is what they have to say about tantrum. Oh my goodness. I couldn't stand that child for 8 hours. I don't think you had a choice. If you were in that plane, what will you do? What will you do? Get up and jump up and hold on to the child? It's not your child. This is America. You don't just go touching people's kids. So you have to. Oh man, you say part of me thinks my dad would have smacked me in the mouth. Now, for me, it would have been my mom's eyes, only her eyes, and I'll stop making that sound. But things are changed now. Things are different now. So you know, and parents are parenting. Yeah, you're true. It's true. But those were different times back when I was 3. Yeah. Now it's a different approach to I put them on back. Come on. Yeah. Okay. So I want to show you what the CDC Center for Disease Control has to say. Kim, welcome. Welcome, Kim. I appreciate everyone here today. And I will be coming right back to you. Thank you so much for coming. One of these days, I'm gonna do another one of my grow streams, and every channel on the stream I will feature. But I want to do these little topics here and there, just to grow my channel. Because I notice when I do these live streams, I get new subscribers and my channel is growing, and I get a lot of watch hours. So you said on back exactly. Dad hit me so hard I got put to sleep. Okay, easy math with Coach Mike. He says those were the old days, not these days. You can't even do that these days. You get in big trouble for your child. Snack, favorite book, toy, iPad. Thanks for yeah. Easy math with Coach Mike, of course. Okay, so I want to show you what the CDC is saying and about tantrums, and then I'll move from there as well. So I do have to share my screen. And this is what the CDC has to say. And it says how to okay, essentials for parenting toddlers and preschoolers. And it says how to use ignoring. So this is a I don't know if ignoring behavior will help in travel, because you've seen the 2 videos that I showed you. The first one, that child was jumping and bouncing and everybody ignored him, but he was still bothering people. And a plane is a public space, and you don't know who's sitting beside you. Some people choose not to have children because they don't want to deal with children. So when you're in a plane, you have all kinds of people. You have people who love kids, you have people who don't want kids, you have people who just need a nap because they've been working and they're tired, all kinds of people. So that's why you have to put your child to check and make sure they behave well in a public space. like an airplane or a ship, whatever you're traveling with, a bus. So these things are happening everywhere. They're happening in buses, in airplanes, in boats, in ships, wherever, whatever we travel with, they are happening. So it's not just planes. So this is what CDC is saying. CDC is saying when a toddler is tantruming, you should ignore them. Yeah, tough to say why he was yelling. I didn't see the whole story if they really even said. Thank you, my friend, for sharing this for me. Thank you so much, Easy Math. No kids here. I love kids, but I don't need one. Oh my goodness. Maybe tantrum friend. Okay. So it says attention from parents is very rewarding for children. Attention can be both positive and negative. Positive attention refers to things you do to let your child know you like something they did. Negative attention happens when you give your child attention for something you don't like. If your child keeps tugging at your shirt or keep jumping on an airplane chair like the video we saw and calling your name, you may tell your child to stop. In this example, you've given your child attention. You may find yourself giving attention to negative behaviors more than positive behaviors because you are rushed or in a hurry. But for children, negative attention from you is still attention. Ignoring works because it takes away attention from the behaviors you want to decrease. Your child learns that she will not receive attention for misbehaving. Okay. My folks certainly have ignored me and let me cry myself to sleep a few times. No kids. Back. Let them cry and they might fall asleep. Okay. So, what is ignoring? Do not be fooled by the term ignoring. It is a very active process for the parents. So, ignoring, they are telling you, does not mean walk away, shut the door, don't be around, just go away from the environment. You still have to supervise toddlers, even when you ignore them. You still have to have your ears and eyes on them, because they're toddlers and they don't make the best decisions in terms of safety. So think of ignoring as the opposite of paying attention. When you ignore your child, you do not neglect him or stand by while he misbehaves. Instead, you take all your attention away from your child and his behavior. Ignoring usually helps stop behaviors that your child is using to get your attention. This includes behaviors like throwing tantrums, whining, and interrupting. When you're ignoring, you do not look at your child or talk to them. Ignore all protests or excuses to get your attention. The goal is to decrease behaviors you do not like or you want your child to stop. Okay, so why in the world should I ignore my child's behavior? Ignoring can help you reduce your child's misbehavior. Sorry, why should I ignore my child's misbehavior? Remember that children love attention. Who doesn't? Everybody, we all do. That's why we have celebrities and and YouTubers and bloggers. We like attention. We all thrive on attention. Okay, so negative attention like screaming or yelling can be rewarding to a child. This is true, especially if you were not paying attention to your child before the misbehavior started. By giving your child attention during tantrums, you may accidentally reward the behavior and increase the chance it will happen again. When you ignore some behaviors, you can make it less likely your child will do the behavior again. Okay, so what misbehaviors should I ignore? Ignoring is usually most effective for behaviors like whining, crying, when nothing is physically wrong or hurting, and tantrums. These misbehaviors are often done for attention. If parents, friends, family, or other caregivers consistently ignore these behaviors, they will eventually stop. Now, I like how the CDC has it here. It says parents, friends, family, or other caregivers, which means that in dealing with any behavior of a child at all, it's like You know how they have like a medical care team where they have all the doctors and nurses working on one patient, creating a plan to make sure that one patient gets better. That's just the way childcare is, you know. They say it takes a village to raise a child, a village. So it's the family, it's the friends, it's the caregivers. You all have to be on the same page. And as a caregiver, as a daycare provider, I do find that sometimes we're working on a behavior through the years. I've seen this. Where we, as the daycare providers, are working on a behavior at school, and we've created a plan with the parents. But when the child gets home, the parents will not follow up. So the behavior keeps going on, and it never stops. But also on the flip side, I have also seen where we've created a behavior plan right in school with the parents, or with the parents, maybe with the therapist, whoever's working with the child, and the parents follow up, the child care provider follows up, the therapist follows up, everybody's on the same page, and that child begins to change with time, because children love consistency. They will change with time. So it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you can totally eradicate tantrum. Sometimes they just outgrow it, because it's an age appropriate behavior for toddlers. So what I mean is that we expect toddlers to have tantrums. If they don't have tantrums, it's okay. We are not complaining. But if they do have tantrums, it's not a problem. It's who they are, and it's how they are supposed to um, to explore this new world that they live in. Okay, so ignoring is usually most effective for behaviors like whining, crying, when nothing is physically wrong or hurting, and tantrums. These misbehaviors are often done for attention. If parents, friends, family, or other caregivers consistently ignore these behaviors, they will eventually stop. Your child may also misbehave in ways that are not meant for attention and put him in danger. Dangerous and destructive behaviors should not be ignored. For example, if your child is hurting herself, hurting others, or destroying objects, she should not be ignored. Good. I like how they said this. And this also goes to other things happening when we travel. If a child is screaming at the top of their voice for 8 hours, ignoring is not the best solution at that moment for the parent, because now people don't want to interfere in a child yelling and crying and tantruming in a plane or in a public place, because it's just the nature of life now. In the old days, it used to take a village to grow a village, to take care of children, and you as a neighbor could discipline your neighbor's children, or relatives could discipline children. Just it took a village, but it's different now. There are so many restrictions. Even family members, you can't interfere in people's issues or matters anymore, and that includes when the child is tantruming. So if that is the case, if nobody on the plane can interfere, the mom needs to take charge, or dad, whoever is with the child, or both, mom and dad. They need to take charge of the situation. You know, that screaming child looked like he could understand that there are people here. You can't scream like that. You need to stop. We don't do that here. And it's not a behavior that just started right there in the play. It's a behavior that has been ongoing. Because one thing with children or toddlers is that, okay, my next live stream, you get a timeout on back. Okay, my finger was everywhere. So I was like, what I blocked is sorry. Okay, came at home. Okay, so you deal with the behavior at the moment that it is happening, and try to stop it immediately, and be consistent. So other discipline and consequences such as timeout should be used, and they have a link to other like articles that you can read that has to do with this topic that we are talking about. Okay, so Now I'm gonna go back and play another video, and I want to see what you guys think about that, about the next video that we're about to watch. Hold on. So even while I was researching this, I saw that even some airplanes, they are now having rules preventing children from riding on planes, and doing restrictions like age restrictions and all kinds of restrictions that children should not be riding on planes, because many parents are not taking charge of their children when traveling, and people around cannot do anything because they are not, they are not their kids. So let's see the next one, where there's a consequence right here for the child that was crying on the plane. So I'm gonna find that video in a few minutes, and then I'll share my screen and you can see it. And I do have my own, like my own tips and tricks at some point on this video, and you guys can hear that. So I'm gonna share my screen again so you can see that video. And oh, putting a new Wi-Fi. What are you guys talking about? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna enlarge the screen and we can watch this.
Turn around before takeoff. For Sarah Blackwood, singer of Canadian band Walk Off the Earth, that's exactly what happened on a recent flight. Sarah is joining us now from Vancouver, where the band is set to perform Friday night. Sarah, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
And is this your little one that caused the commotion?
This is the big threat right here, yeah.
Okay, so what happened?
It was pretty basic. I mean, I've been traveling with my son since he was 3 weeks old. So we've been on airplanes for almost 2 years, and I've never had an issue. People are always very sympathetic, and it was just one of those days where he was really fussy, and he's still an infant, considered an infant, so he's sitting in my lap until he turns 2, and I had to hold him. And he was being really squirmy, and he was crying really loud. And the lady came over to me and told me to control my child.
A passenger or a member of the airline crew?
No, a member of the crew, the flight attendant. And I looked at her. I'm 7 months pregnant as well, so I looked at her and I said, I have him in my lap. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm holding him, and he's yelling and squirming, but I got him. And then she said, we'll have to ask you to leave the plane if you can't control your child. And, I don't like to make a fuss. I don't like to make a big deal out of things. So I said, okay, I'm doing the best I can. And, I'm sorry. And then about 5 minutes in, we had been taxiing for a little while. He fell fully asleep, and they turned the plane around. So by the time we got to the gate, he was totally asleep on me. And they sent another lady in to come take us off the airplane.
Okay,
Wow.
so just so we're clear, the plane didn't take off, but they turned around while they were still on the runway to drop you off?
Yeah.
And did they explain that they were doing this to you? What were other passengers saying?
Their explanation for the turnaround in general to begin with was the pilot came on the radio and said that they had to refuel the plane so that we could make it to Vancouver faster. Which in my experience of flying sounded a little ridiculous because, I mean, wouldn't that be the first thing you do when you get to a gate is refuel a plane? But I was like, okay, so good. They're not actually turning around because they are going to take us off the flight. And then the lady came up once we got to the gate and asked me to get off the flight. And all of the passengers were disgusted. They were like, that's ridiculous. I had people 2 rows behind me that I've been in touch with that said, all I was doing was holding my child and trying to keep him close to me while we took off, and 5 to 7 minutes in, he fell asleep. And by the time they turned the plane around and got to the gate, he was fully asleep. And then they asked me to leave the plane.
All right. Well, here's what SkyWest says, the airline that you were flying on. They say that your son was not seated and was repeatedly in the aisle of the aircraft before departure and during taxi, despite numerous requests. They had to do this to ensure passenger safety. So how do you respond to that, the fact that they say he was in the aisle and it was jeopardizing safety?
Well, one thing, I was in a window seat with someone beside me, so there's no way he could have been in the aisle. And second thing, that the gentleman beside me, whose contact I have, he turned to me at one point, because I was like, I'm so sorry, like, my child's really loud right now, I'm sorry. And he turned to me and said, you know what, I have 3 kids, don't worry about it. I've gone through it. It happens, whatever, it's no big deal. So there's no way he could have been in the aisle. I was in a window seat, so I don't really know where that story came from.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Sarah Blackwood, I'm glad you could join us. I think a lot of people will be divided on this whole issue. We appreciate.
Yeah, so that was a bit extreme. They kicked them off the plane because the child was crying. And the worst part of this is that the child eventually stopped crying. So they didn't even see the main tantrum happening before the plane took flight. So that was bad. But there's one more video I would like to show. This was very heartwarming, and okay, so let's watch this one. Let's see. I have
Rescue. 19-month-old Britain was feeling a little fussy, so Southwest flight attendant Jessica scooped up the little girl and took her down the aisle, greeting passengers. Britain loved her new role and blew lots of kisses. Mom Savannah says they were flying from Austin, Texas to Las Vegas. When we caught up with them today, Britain was still blowing kisses.
It was such a relief just to give her a change of scenery. It was super helpful.
Oh man!
And
Look at that
speaking of
child.
flight attendants, imagine spilling drinks all over your boss. It happened to Maddie Peters, who accidentally dumped a tray.
Okay, so that's a different story. But in one plane, the child was kicked off the plane with the mom. In another plane, the flight attendant helped calm the child, giving it the attendant picked up the child, gave the child a different um, a, guys, come on. Give the child like a different environment, more fun, moving around, because toddlers are not used to just sitting down and waiting for the plane to land. They are not built like that. Okay, so we've seen all these situations. We've seen the ones where the child is just bouncing and bouncing off the walls and nobody's saying anything. They're ignoring, using the CDC skill for dealing with tantrums. And then you see the one where the airplane is saying, you guys need to get out. We didn't even start the trip yet, and the baby's already crying. So you guys need to get out. Right. Some people need to show compassion, Crazy he was sleeping before they even, got to kick them out. That's crazy. Okay. So I want to show what some other people are like the tips that some people are saying will work for situations like this. And then as I'm talking about that, I'll also talk about what I think about this whole tantruming when children travel. I'm going to share my screen in a few minutes. And let me see. I need to do this automatically. I'm still practicing how to use this system. Okay, hide this one right here, and I'm going to show this right here. Okay, so these people, they have halawilltravel.com, and they have 15 tips for traveling with young kids and avoiding tantrums during the holidays. So, just the regular introduction. The holiday season is here. Some of us with young children are still thinking about whether we should go on a trip with our young ones, as the month of November and December is right around the corner. The braver and spirited parents among us, though, may already have everything booked and all set for the year end holiday adventures. Will While many are blessed with children who have mild personalities, used to traveling, or fuss free, many parents are equally blessed with children who are strong willed, yep, opinionated, and have specific needs for various things. But regardless of children's personalities, the question that often crosses our minds when discussing a trip will be, how can we deal with all the temper tantrum, meltdowns, and major crankiness that may erupt on the journey? Yeah. Well, more often than not, babies and children in general are tougher than we give them credit for. And one of the loveliest things about young children is that they are very forgiving human beings. As parents, we can lose our cool at them, sometimes forgetting to respect our children by saying horrid things to them or even make unintentional bad decisions. But if we apologize to them, we will often notice that they will forgive us immediately and love us all the same. And that's why I work with kids, and that's why I love kids. Kim at home. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much, Kim. Um, but if we apologize to them, we'll often notice that they'll forgive us immediately and love us all the same. All is often well with a good night's sleep. Do try your level best not to lose it daily, and then apologizing to the point of damaging their will and self esteem, though, as with everything in life, balance is key. So they say, number one, understand the reasons behind meltdowns and temper tantrums. Tantrums are a normal part of child development, and that's what I said at the beginning. They are often symptoms of a child struggling with emotions that they find hard to regulate. At times, there are other underlying issues beneath the frequent tantrums or meltdowns, excuse me, such as sensory disorders. They're talking about special needs here and other childhood related issues. So, if it's all right if you encounter your child throwing a tantrum on trips, at times it's bound to happen at any given time throughout childhood, your travels included. So, understanding your child and the reason why they will tantrum is very important. Some children will have a tantrum when they're hungry. So you have to feed, get things, and Umbeck said this, and get things for them to eat while they travel. And I know they serve food in airplanes, but children may not be able to wait till food is served. So you need to take your stuff with you before you travel, so that, hold on, I'm coming. I'm working on this. Okay. Um, so that you don't get tantrums because they are hungry. Know your children well, identify their trigger points, and prevent an oncoming meltdown if possible. And I just said that it could be hunger, it could be they're tired, they want to sleep, it could be you did not take their favorite stuffy with you when you're traveling. So all of these could be trigger points for your toddlers. Although sometimes it's just, I want my way, and my way is the only way. And then in that case, there are different strategies to deal with the tantrum. Okay, so be prepared for medical needs and emergencies. Bring along essential medication and take note of medical facilities at host destinations. So, self explanatory, keep calm whenever possible and manage your expectations. So, one thing about toddlers is that they are very good at feeding off of your emotions. If you are frustrated, the toddler will show it, because they are very intuitive beings. They can feel it, they can feel your frustration, they can feel your anger. So keeping calm is very important if you want to deal with tantrums. So skip the tightly scheduled holiday tours, and if possible, opt for a free and easy trip. In this way, you can avoid rushing your children, which may result in temper tantrums. if traveling with a group of children, don't assume that your older children do not need attention. Every child needs attention. They may also feel uneasy about certain things, so it will be good to watch out for their trigger signs too. Since we know that traveling may upset a usual routine in a child's life, it might be worth being a bit more relaxed on a few things you may be stricter about at home. So if they're asking for a cake, you may just decide to give it to them at the airport so they can calm down, or a popsicle or a lollipop. For example, ice cream or two, extra candy, extended time on the devices, a new toy, a book for the journey, or anything else that may distract them from the discomfort of a long trip. Even adults, we do get frustrated when a trip is very long. So we shouldn't expect children to just swallow it and and be quiet about it. Rebecca, thank you, Rebecca. Welcome, sis, Rebecca. Welcome. I always like to see you, Rebecca, and everybody else. Okay, so take note that this may be counterproductive for some children too, as they may prefer something predictable when everything else is unpredictable. So perhaps pack one of their favorite comfort toys, which I said their favorite stuffed animal or stuffy. Have more frequent breastfeeds for infants. Choose the strategies that will work well with your own children, and if you don't know yet which will work, every trip you take will give you more insights on that. Okay. So this I'm gonna skip that because we're talking about, okay, travel light and use minimalist packing strategies, because you can be pulling three kids on your two hands. You just have two hands, You have to have space for luggage, you have to have space to hold the child. So be careful when you pack. I know that packing and taking kids on the trip is not very easy. So read stories about traveling and talk to your child about it before the trip. Very important to prepare the child before the trip, so they are aware of what's gonna happen. They expect that you're gonna get on a train, a plane, a bus. They expect that they're going to be seated in a very compacted place where they cannot run around, where they cannot bounce like they're on a trampoline, like the first video we saw. You have to prepare them. And special needs children especially need more preparation than just regular needs children. So put together travel activities and simple games for long flights or rides. Absolutely. Pack a bag of great stuff that they can color, they can do art, they can do puzzles, little things that they can keep them busy as they travel. They can listen to music. There's a lot of pictures on here, um, on that screen. Okay, so use priority lines or arrange for express check-in whenever possible to avoid long waits that are not necessary. You can also consider picking a holiday destination where the airport and attractions are not busy, because toddlers are not patient people. If you already know they are not patient, let's work towards doing things quickly. They want to be fast. Let's move on to the next thing. They don't want to stick to one thing for too long. So be careful about that. Use priority lines, arrange for express check-in, and pick destinations that the lines are not too long, and also um, attractions are not too busy. Take night flights for long haul flights, and front row or aisle seats whenever possible for short flights. Try to reserve a bassinet for babies on a night flight. Oh man, look at that baby. And this is just to make them as comfortable as you can in the small space that you have, you know, because if they are not comfortable, they will not hide their feelings. That's one thing I love about kids. They will tell you exactly how they are feeling at a particular moment. Okay, so research and take notes of kid-friendly spaces and attractions prior to the trip. That is so awesome. So as you're traveling, you can visit places that the children really like to see. There are plenty of lovely kids activity venues that are affordable everywhere around the world. In some countries, there are loads of free attractions and activities for young children. For example, the Natural History Museum in London, which does not require payment for entry, except for selected exhibitions in tropical islands in Krasny Germany, where children 5 years and below enter for free. Popular Southwest Asian travel destinations such as Bali, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, etc. have a fair share of awesome children play areas and activities too. Free parks and playgrounds are also worth considering. For older kids, you can take the chance to allow them to engage in sports or cultural related activities. Or if you're stuck in the airports, because not many people can come out of the airport if they are in transit, So if you're stuck in the airport, maybe find a space where they can run and have fun. Maybe let them ride on the escalator, just something to keep them busy and occupied while they are waiting for the next flight is going to be very important. Okay, so choose your battles and strike a balance. Cut it short if you have to. Okay, so sometimes the best laid plans do fail. For example, no matter how tempting the food at a restaurant is, if you know that your children have had enough for the day, there's no shame in cutting the day short and having a takeaway. Children are continuously learning to build character and traits such as perseverance, but it does not make sense to expect them to have already mastered it. So cut your day short if you need to, when your children's moods or yours for the matter don't seem to be at its best. So it's working according to working according to the children's timing and patience is very important. So don't let negative comments. Oh man, this is absolutely important. Negative comments, judging looks, or lack of sensitivity from any members of the public gets you down. And my next video I'm going to show you, it just has to do with this number 13. I mean, parents are already struggling with their toddlers, struggling to, and they are embarrassed. This child is loud and jumping and moving all over the place. And then people around, instead of helping, like the flight attendant helped, she picked up that baby, walked around with the baby, did her job with the baby. So the baby had a chance to move around and see new things instead of just sitting down with mommy or daddy. Instead of helping in that way, some people are like, oh my goodness, why is the child so loud? Mom, can you do something about, they're saying all kinds of negative things. Now you're distracted because people are talking and your child is, disruptive and too much is happening around you. That can be very frustrating. So if you're watching today, please, if you see a situation like that, just chip in and help. I because we have a daycare, my husband works with me sometimes, and I showed him the video of the child jumping, and I asked him, I said, if it was you, what would you do? He said he'll say hi to the child, hi to the mom, and chat a little bit with the child, and he won't get angry because he works with me, and he knows that toddlers are built like that. That's what they do. And that's exactly what I'll do too. I know many people are not like that, but I'm just saying, if you find a situation like that, just be patient with the mom. She's already going through a lot, and you can help. Okay. Diana! Diana! Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So happy to meet you, Little Ruby Daycare. Thank you, Ombed, for sharing full support. As I will certainly return to you too, Druzy. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Diana, Rebecca, Ombed, Druzy, Kim, everybody here today. Did I miss anybody? I'm still looking. Let me see if I missed anybody. I appreciate Sweetie. I appreciate every one of you. Easy Math with Code Mike. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and staying tuned to this live stream. Okay, so enjoy the scenery while basking in the beauty of give thanks to. Oh, this is a religious one, and for the gift of life, good health, as well as the opportunity to create special memories with your loved ones. Okay. Number 15, keep an open mind. Don't be too hard on yourself. Enjoy the trip and learn along with your child. Okay. Oh, let me see number 16 since were they 16 or 17? Let's see. Okay. I think that's about it on that. And I'm going to show you the video I was talking about in a few minutes. See if I can share my screen. This will be the last video, and then I can conclude with what I would do and how I will work on these situations that we are talking about. So I'm gonna show you that video that I was saying when the child is tantruming and people are having trouble and saying things in the airplane about or wherever, not just the airplane, about the child, while the mom is already struggling, to take care of the baby. Okay, I have it. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen so we can all watch it. And this will be the last video. Oh no, not that. It's gonna be this one. Okay. It's short, so
Here comes the screaming kid. Love to fly. Gonna be my seatmate.
I may have to because there's music. I didn't even realize it. There was another one. It's just a child screaming, and a lady is screaming at the child, in the airplane. So there's music here, and I know how YouTube is. And this person probably put music on purpose so that you can get copyrighted for playing it. So the child is screaming. You already heard that child is screaming at the top of their voice. The passengers are frustrated. There's so much going on here. So that is it for all the videos that I'll be showing today. Um, I wanted to say that traveling with children, toddlers especially, is a it's a huge responsibility for the parents, for the mom, for the dad, for the family members who are traveling with the child. Toddlers are usually built to tantrum because they have not learned to navigate the world of their feelings yet. They don't know how to express themselves. Some of them don't even have words. Some of them have special needs, So it's a whole lot going on, and as they navigate the world of their feelings, they are expressing their feelings in different ways. Tantrums, falling out, and there are all levels of tantrums. And as a parent or a caregiver, when it's starting. You can sense it. Oh my goodness, this is about to happen. You can sense it. And this live stream today was just to shed a light on this major problem that parents all over the world are facing, especially during the holidays when they travel. Because many people are traveling to see family and friends, from one place to the other. Some trips are short, some are long. So as you travel and you have a toddler with you, Plan ahead of your trip because any one of these things that happen in the video can happen to your child if you're not ready. You know, be ready. They will tantrum. If they're tired, they will tantrum. If they're hungry, because I know that they serve snacks and food depending on the hours you're traveling. The longer you travel, the more food is served in the plane. So if you know that there are intervals between eating in the plane, between when they serve and when your child needs to eat, take some snacks with you. And traveling is not just only when you travel in a plane. And I can remember I did watch I think it was Sharon and Family's channel one time. She went to do her hair and she took her toddler with her. And her toddler was everywhere, everywhere. She was distracted, all kinds of things were going on. So she's like, next time I'm not gonna take my daughter anywhere because this is too much. It was too hard when I was getting my hair braided. And I remember leaving a comment on her video and it said, you can take things with you, you know, take a coloring book, take a stuffed animal, something that will occupy the child while you are busy. Because children are not, they are not like us. Actually, there are even some adults who still can't um, stay in a particular place for too long, you know. So and that's how I always compare when a child is doing something. I'm like, they're just children. Even some adults cannot control themselves. So why do I expect a child who's still growing and learning to be all perfect? You know, if you find a toddler that's all perfect and they sit still when you take them places, they are not bouncing around. Please, I want to meet that toddler. You know, you can hardly find them. So um, we have to get ready when we are actually taking toddlers for a trip. You know, get them something they can be busy with. Take your food with you. Take puzzles and books. Occupy them if you can. Let them run a little bit before. Okay, I'll give you an example. When my husband and I during the summer we went to was it Chicago? Yeah, when we no Michigan, sorry, we went to Michigan, and on our we drove to Michigan with an infant, but luckily for us, he was already crawling. So we made sure to stop at every you know how they have those stops, what they call them. There's something they call them. I can't remember. But they have stops when you're traveling that you can go to, get a snack, relax, walk around, you know, stretch your legs. At every one of those stops, we did about three of them before we got to Michigan. At every one of those stops, we let the baby crawl all over the floor. Like, let him waste his energy, let him burn his energy, not waste. He was burning his energy. And we gave him like 30 minutes just to crawl around and burn his energy and let him stretch himself. And he loved it. And people, he even made friends. You know, people were like, oh, he's so cute and this and that. Hi, you know. And we saw some other parents do that too. They let their children just crawl around and, you know, and play because the trip to Michigan was a long trip. I think it was 8 hours, if I can remember correctly. Imagine an infant, you know, taking that trip. So that really helped the child, really helped the baby to um, to make it through. Without, he did cry a couple of times, but not too much on his car seat. So every time we stopped, we let him move around. He got back in his car seat and he took a nap. So that was nice. So if you're traveling like that, maybe you're traveling with a car, you have toddlers in your car. When you get to a stop, a rest stop, they call them rest stop. So when you get to a rest stop, find a safe place where you're watching and supervising them, where they can run, you know, move around, do something fun, and that will help for your trip. So um, let's get this discussion going. If you have anything to suggest in the comment section, please do. I appreciate every one of you who came on this live today. Excuse me. I'm always very excited to see you. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting my channel always. And I'll be coming right back to you guys. Thank you so much. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like, and I'll be on my way out. Thank you guys. Bye.